We are the restaurant brokers, and we sell restaurants.
We started the nation's largest restaurant brokerage firm over a decade ago.
Atlanta, Georgia was our starting point, but our brand is spreading nationwide. We define restaurant brokerage and help buyers just like these.
Our dream, our goal, open up a restaurant, loving life, serving people breakfast and lunch, and then enjoying the rest of the day with them and ourselves.
Buying an existing restaurant, leasing a closed restaurant space, or purchasing a restaurant franchise. We help buyers satisfy their appetite for acquisition.
I'm part of a husband and wife team with this fella.
Working with my wife has been a lot of fun. The ultimate goal for everybody here is to make this work. And because we have different strengths, we bring different angles to the deal.
The process begins with our powerhouse website, WeSellRestaurants.com, where buyers sign online confidentiality agreements and browse restaurants for sale.
Then we send buyers undercover to check out a restaurant and decide if it's the right one for them.
Buyers get our proprietary business analysis tool with all the financial details on the business for sale.
After studying the restaurant inside and out, it's back to our office.
We are deal makers. We write contracts and negotiate terms for buyers and sellers. That's why we sell more restaurants than any other firm in the nation. We are the restaurant brokers. Our name says it all. You're back on the air with Eric and Robin Gagnon, the restaurant brokers, and we sell restaurants. We are the nation's industry leader in restaurants for sale, franchise restaurant resales, and site location for the food service industry. We are franchising nationwide. We have offices in Georgia, Florida, South Carolina, Tennessee, and Colorado. For more information, you can visit us online at WeSellRestaurants.com. So, Eric, we're talking beer. What's on your mind?
So many IPAs, sour, all kinds of words right now that are on my mind. It's very good information, and if you're listening to this show, you're take some notes. There's a lot of good information that these guys are sharing that could be useful for your operation here in the near future. I want to start to ask you guys a little bit on this segment here about. You talk about you're the founder of Sweetwater, Zach, that came over and did something. There's so many beers out there, but how do you make sure that, if somebody comes out there and like, hey, I'm going to go and study the Sweetwater, and then I'm just going to kind of knock off their beer and do something different, but call it craft. How do you make sure that this doesn't happen? How do you see that? Because there's so many beers out there. It's just a little variance, or this is very people who are just going out on a limb and creating some really, really unique flavors?
That's a good question. That's never really a concern. Craft beer culture, especially the breweries themselves, I get this question all the time. It's who is your biggest competitor? And amongst the craft beer world, it's none. That's not our style. We're not really. We kind of compete over draft handles and everyone wants their beer showcased, of course. But in the end, we all are the same kind of person. We like to be outside. We like to hang out. We like to drink beers and enjoy each other's company. So it's kind of like us, craft brewers as a whole, kind of trying to make craft brewing as a whole gain market share within the entire worldwide beer market.
I think there's something interesting about the beer industry, because you were telling us during the break you were at a festival, there are beer dinners. I mean, this is the hospitality industry, and I don't think there's anywhere within that industry that the culture kind of comes together, and there are all these events and festivals and things that are going on around the idea of beer. Now, Erika, do you see a lot of that going on? And Zach, I want you and Ryan to weigh in as well. And is that actually a way for folks within the industry to market themselves? If it's a restaurateur listening to us and he hasn't reached out, is that a way for him to kind of forward himself in the marketplace? Erika, what are your thoughts?
I think definitely. I mean, that's definitely festivals are a linchpin in this industry. They're very important for facing your consumer and sort of getting to interface with your drinker. I know that a lot of, and I'm sure that Zach can speak to this as well, but a lot of brewers themselves are pouring the beer, putting it in the consumer's hand, talking to them about it, and it's a wonderful way to have that face-to-face interaction. And there's festivals all over the country, probably on any given weekend at this point. So those opportunities abound, and I think it's a nice kind of guerrilla marketing technique that one can use to really to speak directly to the person that is going to be buying your beer.
Ryan, do you see the same thing? Oh, I'm sorry.
I was just in Boston for Extreme Beer Fest, and what was cool about this is it's a 3-session beer fest. It's 2 days. Every brewery there, all fantastic breweries, had to bring their weirder, wilder, extreme beers, if you will. what was cool is there were no actual volunteers to pour the beer. So everyone who was pouring the beer, back to an earlier statement, were the brewers themselves or owners or marketing dudes, someone that works there. And to get that face-to-face interaction with your consumer and new consumers, it goes so far. It's you can't really put a value on it. It's pretty amazing.
So Ryan, what about you?
You know what I witnessed from afar in the craft beer market. It's kind of it's the only industry to this day where it's a head nod and a handshake agreement. Breweries helping breweries, and even though craft beer is popping up everywhere, still owns such a small portion of the market in beer itself that it's a collective effort trying to get the name of the beer out there. It's fantastic. I can tell you, and this is just a little factoid too, I mean, we are just now 100 years after Prohibition almost, approaching the number of breweries that we had prior to 1914. I mean, it's amazing how it's evolved and it's coming up and it's here to stay. The trends of styles might change, but craft beer is definitely moving. It's good. It's a good time.
That's good information. That's very impressive. I want to ask you a question. I think Robin mentioned it before the break. Now, so many beers out there, and this person, male or female, wants to try one craft beer. And that's the only one they'll ever try. That you have to change their mind. What would you tell them to drink, and maybe tell them what food would you eat with it? Who wants to take it first?
I'll go first.
I'm going to go with my sales pitch approach to every day here at the World of Beer. I mean, it's just like food. You go into a restaurant and kind of knowing what cuisine you're looking for, whether it be Vietnamese or Thai or steak. There's those correlations with beers as well. Styles, lighter, darker, sweeter, stronger, fruity, dry, hoppy, bitter. Those attributes will help us focus and hone in on that one particular beer. It's kind of a vague answer to a vague question, but that's what I'm going with.
Go for it, Zach.
I mean, I'm biased. I think Sweetwater IPA is one of the most perfect beers that exist in the world. It's juicy, it's hoppy, it's got bitterness to it, but it's juicy, it's citrus forward, grapefruit notes sing in that beer, and I think you compare it with almost anything. I love when people come to the tasting room and they say, "I'll have anything. I really don't like IPAs." And I'm like, I don't think you've had the right IPA yet. If I throw in one of our IPAs, usually it's a winner 9 times out of 10, which is pretty amazing. And if not, I can always find something else. But my go-to with folks for first time, want to try something new, I think Sweetwater IPA. Again, I'm way biased, so take that with a grain of salt. I think that beer is awesome.
All right, Erika, what about you?
Oh boy, this is a tricky question. I would go kind of backpedal to see what they normally drink. If they're more of a cocktail person, if they like something a little smoky, I might lead them toward a Rauk. If they're more of a wine drinker, I might find one of these wine barrel-aged beers. And as far as IPAs go, there's so many and they're so variant, but I think you got to try at least one and see if hops are your thing. And if they are, there's a whole world open to you to enjoy that with.
Great answers, absolutely. So, Erika, if someone wants to read your magazine, do they find you online? Do you also do subscriptions? Tell us about Draft Magazine quickly.
Absolutely. We are a print subscription magazine, but we also have a very robust online presence with a lot of fresh new content every day. That is at draftmag.com. You can also get a digital subscription to Draft, which is for your devices, and you can follow us on Facebook, Draft Magazine, and also on Twitter at Draft Mag, where we're putting up more fresh content pretty much every day, multiple times a day.
Love that. And, of course, Sweetwater Brewery you can find online. Follow them on Twitter and World of Beer as well. And that's not all. You can also find the restaurant brokers online at WeSellRestaurants.com. That's all the time we have today to talk about this great subject. After all, we've been talking about beer. You're one of your favorite subjects. Take a moment, like us on Facebook. We're at Facebook.com/WeSellRestaurants. Our Twitter handle is @SellRestaurants. Eric and Robin Gagnon, the Restaurant Brokers, we're your industry authority and source for information, and we'll be right back after this quick break.